Hello, my name is Scott Davis, and this video is part of my submission to the Virtual Graduate Research Forum. I am a master's degree forensic psychology non-licensure graduate, and the title of my digital poster is Crisis Intervention Team, or CIT, Training at a Pre-Trial Detainment Center. Excuse me. As psychiatry hospitals began closing their doors in the 1950s, the inundation of mentally ill inmates into correctional facilities became the standard practice in America. Though correction officers were responsible for mentally ill inmates, they were doing so without the training and the skill set and the education that they needed to truly be effective at their jobs. So imagine the hyperstructured environment of a detention center where correction officers are responsible for a litany of responsibilities. And now imagine the same setting where you have a multitude of inmates that do not possess the cognitive abilities to follow orders, follow the social norms of the prison environment. So how can we expect these officers to be both effective at their jobs at running the facility and ensuring that the mentally ill inmates are maintaining their treatment goals and they're moving towards rehabilitation? So the correction officer's standardized academy training for dealing with non-compliant inmates is use of force. And unfortunately, as the saying goes, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And by this, we're looking at things like when an inmate is in a mental health crisis, they're not treated with compassion and used de-escalation techniques, but rather they are usually overwhelmed with physical force with multiple people, and this most assuredly causes both physical harm but also affects their psychological well-being. So one example of this strategy is seen in what is called a cell removal team, or a CRT. This is a tactical group of correction officers suited up in riot gear, use extreme force, pepper spray, physical restraints. They forcibly remove the inmate from their cell. And once they're removed, they're kept in these restraints and placed in a solitary confinement for sometimes up to 24 hours until a psychiatric staff member can evaluate them. So the primary goal when developing crisis intervention teams is to change the entire culture of the correctional facility, retraining the managerial and the correction officer's ideology away from use of force and more towards a progressive pro-rehabilitation strategy. And to do this, the course is taught using a 40-hour layout that's provided by the National Alliance of Mental Illness using what is known as the Memphis Model. This course is taught by licensed community support members that provide the instruction on vital information, they developing skill set, and practicing with role-playing exercises. These things help the correction officers not only develop but finely tune their de-escalation and suicide prevention tactics. Now, the efficacy of CIT in corrections is it's not as heavily documented as it is in policing. However, the most recent studies have shown that correction officers' beliefs, their perceptions, their attitudes on mental illness dramatically improve upon completion of this training course, as does their belief in the efficiency of crisis intervention being used over use of force. Moreover, there's a 12-month post-training follow-up evaluations that have been studied. These show officers are self-reporting improved job satisfaction, increased productivity, more smoothly run shifts. And there was also a one-year study conducted at a state-run correctional facility in New Jersey that showed a 52% reduction in cell removal teams' usage once CIT programs were implemented. When included in the reduction in property damage, the money saved with staff retention, the reduction in physical injuries, both to staff and inmates, and the decreased probability of civil suits due to excessive force, CIT is a proven strategy to create a more progressive, efficient, and effective correctional facility. But what makes CIT so important for a pre-trial detention center specifically is that the majority of inmates being housed there, it's before their court date. With the CIT-trained officer's ability to identify mental illness, they can facilitate a psychiatric evaluation. Inmates can provide their defense counsel with the evidence of mental illness before the adjudication proceeds to a judge's final ruling, which might help ensure hospitalization over incarceration. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present this digital poster, and I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.